All right, Abe, I need your help for like a minute, please. I gotta pee.
Oh, hello?
Yeah, listen, I gotta go use the bathroom real quick. But my friend's gonna take the conversation for right now.
Okay. Have a good time in the bathroom. Who am I speaking to then? Cam?
No, the other one.
The other one. Oh wait, are you just a normal guest who was brought up at the same time? Coincidentally?
No, I'm Elijah's friend.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so the other one. The reason why I'm not a Christian is probably, I mean, like, I don't have a problem with God. I kind of I think it can be, you know, proved that God exists. But that being said, I'm speaking from the argument of contingency. I don't know if the first mover, the first cause, the whatever you want to call it, why that has to be a being. Why can't it be just an abstract, necessary truth?
What do you
Like
mean by
maybe.
abstract?
Well, I mean, like saying,
Because
there aren't.
typically, like in philosophy, when we're talking about concrete versus abstract, something that's abstract is going to be causally inert, which means that it isn't causally efficacious. It can't cause things. It doesn't enter causal relations. So if you're asking why an abstract thing can't cause things, it's just analytically true.
Well, I was referring to like, well, I was referring to necessary truths and like the whole contingency thing. So, like for example, would saying 2 + 2 = 4 be a necessary truth? Yes, but would it also be like an abstract thing? Yes. So, what if the reason why the universe exists is because of some abstract thing like that? I mean, you're saying it doesn't have any causal power, but is that
Well,
what you said?
yeah, because if you're saying that's what explains it, like for example, um, the reason for what explains what's causing my existence is this sort of abstract truth. Again, this is going to entail some contradiction because by its definition, abstract things cannot cause anything.
Okay, well, anyway, that's not even something that I have much of a problem with. Let's say, okay, fine, God exists. So it's a being, right? Like a being?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is kind of a big question, but how do you know that how do you know anything about this being?
That's a great question.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
traditionally, we would start with the fact that this being exists, right? So,
Okay.
like with the argument for motion, you would conclude with the fact that there's a first mover. And
Okay.
then from there, you would see what other attributes you could deduce from the fact that it's the first mover. So things like the fact that it's immutable or necessary, eternal, all powerful, these sorts of things is going to follow upon uh, what we know like a first mover is, or what you need in order to be a first mover. This is rather what's entailed from being a first mover, I should say.
Okay, so you said all powerful, eternal.
Yes. So for example, the thing with like it being eternal, um, because this first mover has to be purely actual, right? Which means it has no potential to change or to even rely upon another. If it was not eternal and at one point began to exist, then that would mean there's something other than it that explains its existence, which means it would not be purely actual. And so, it would just
You would go through stuff like that to figure out like the attributes of this purely actual being, and then you would see the things that Abe was just talking about in regards to it being like all powerful, timeless, necessary, stuff like that.
I have a question though. Let's say the creator of this universe is what you guys would call God, the purely actual actualizer. How do you know that the actual purely actual actualizer isn't like maybe a couple steps ahead of the God of this universe?
Well,
How do you
What do
how do you know
so
that
if we
it
mean, if
stops
by
at the
God we
creator
mean
of this
like
universe?
yeah, so if by God we mean a purely actual actualizer,
Yeah.
then it's going to follow there can only be, or we can deduce the fact that there's only one sort of being, right? One purely actual actualizer. Because
But
of the
how do
fact
you
that if there were multiple, then there would be something that makes them different, something that differentiates them. And if there were something that differentiates them, that means that one would have something that the other one lacks, which would entail that there's some sort of potential in one. But then again, if there's potential in one, then it's not purely actual. And so in this case, there couldn't be any more than just one purely actual being. And so
but
if by
how do you
God we mean
well,
purely actual being, then there's only one of those things.
but I don't get it. How do you know that there are things beyond like the creation of this universe which, are more complex and, you know, the same way that you believe that God created humans, the other God, so to speak, created this God, and he doesn't. It's not that
Yeah.
he lacks anything that this God has, but he has more, but we just don't know anything about it because we only can connect with the God of this universe. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to be infinite regress. It just maybe like a couple more uh zones in front.
Yeah, I mean, again, if by God here we're saying a purely actual actualizer, then it wouldn't make sense to say that something that's purely actual can be created. Because if it's created, then that means it's being actualized upon. Something is acting upon it, which means that it has potential. But a purely actual being lacks any potential. So
Yeah, but I'm saying the
there
purely
can be
actual
nothing
being
more
isn't
fundamental
the
than,
creator of this universe.
well, there.
Yeah,
Like,
so I
I
mean,
feel like,
you're saying you're pretty much. It sounds like what you're saying is that, hey, if we take a step, Abe, you're cutting in and out. But if we take a step past this purely
okay.
actual actualizer, what if there's like something more?
No. I'm saying that what if the purely actual actualizer is not the God of this universe, but the God of this universe is a creation of the actual purely actual actualizer.
Well,
That's
the
what I'm
purely
saying.
actual actualizer would be the sustainer of this universe because we're going from the fact that change exists, and for change to exist in this universe, there has to be a purely actual actualizer over this universe.
But how do you know it doesn't go beyond universes?
There's not more than one purely actual actualizer. So even if there's multiple universes, there would still just be one purely actual actualizer.
No, I'm saying something like beyond the universe, something that we can't even comprehend.
Like the purely actual actualizer.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were just able to come to the conclusion that a purely actual actualizer exists.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it would just be the purely actual actualizer. That's what exists beyond the universe.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Wow, that's actually, yeah, that's interesting. So just to clarify, you said because, uh, actually, can you say it one more time? If
Yeah, so the
it's not
purely
infinite.
actual actualizer is that which exists beyond this universe.
Okay.
And there would only be one purely actual actualizer. So if there's more than one universe, like say for instance, if this wasn't the only universe, there was another parallel universe or something, it would still be actualized by the purely actual actualizer. Like he's that which exists outside the universe that sustains the universe.
Okay. Wow, so that's cool. Can I ask a question though about like Christianity or whatever?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, okay. Because I just want to like really let you know I'm not anti-God. I don't have a problem. I'm pretty happy. I'd be happy to know that obviously there is a God and I can go to heaven when I die. All of that. I really don't have a problem with that. And also I don't have a problem with taking accountability for my actions. So when I'm talking to you here, I just want to let you know it's not from a like a personal emotional standpoint. It's just I'm trying to just really speak about like the facts and theology and stuff. But I just want to let you know that because I think maybe that's what you said with the other guy, like he just doesn't want to believe in God. That's not
Yeah.
me. I just want to talk about the facts and reasoning and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Because I really want to know the actual truth. I think if everyone's honest, this is the most important question we could possibly ask.
I
So
agree.
anyway, that being said, so my first question is, do you believe dinosaurs existed?
Yeah, and yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Do you think they existed like before humans? Like whatever if they said the asteroid was like 60 million years or whatever, 200
I
million.
mean, I think some walk side by side with humans. Um, like is I've seen some evidence where it's like fossil records that was really really high in a fossil record, like dinosaur bones found on the same like level as human bones. Some dinosaur bones found poking out of the ground. So like I don't think I mean I think we've walked side by side with some dinosaurs here.
But like technically crocodiles are dinosaurs. Do you mean something like that?
No, they found I can't remember the name of the dinosaur's fossil that they found, but uh like its bones were found with human bones pretty much. Um I have to look it up though.
Like a big one.
Yeah.
Hmm. But do you think that there was a time where dinosaurs existed and humans didn't?
I mean possibly. I don't really know much about that stuff. I don't get into that.
Well, I'm just saying, if that is true, if dinosaurs existed before humans, and from what we know about these dinosaurs that existed before humans, they uh, killed and ate each other, right?
I mean possibly.
Possibly. How could it not be so?
I mean in all honesty, like the things that we know about dinosaurs is like kind of slim. It's not a whole bunch. Like we don't even have like I don't even think we have full fossils of dinosaur bones. We like piece these things together. But like if you want to say that they ate each other, that's fine.
Well, they did die. They were mortal.
Okay.
Okay. Basically, the point is that they lived in a world, in an imperfect world, like sort of what you would maybe call the fall. And I'm saying if dinosaurs existed before humans, then how could they live in a fallen world if what made the fallen world was the acts of humans, aka Adam and Eve? I mean, that's another conversation. We can talk about that later, but
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
I would say that, I mean, I'm pretty sure various like denominations is gonna disagree on this point, but at least within the Catholic Church, the only thing you have to like hold to is that prior to the sins of Adam and Eve, that humans were not mortal, right? Humans were not capable of
so
death.
Adam and Eve were the only humans. What?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Prior to their sin, specifically humankind was not mortal, right? So
What?
when
But
it comes to like other animals and plants, you can say those things were capable of death and corruption prior to the first sin, right? Like you can believe that.
How could there be humans prior to Adam and Eve if they were the first ones?
I didn't say, yeah, I didn't say there was. I'm just saying that prior to their sin, humankind or humans, I know they were the
Exactly.
only
How did
ones.
humans exist
I'm
prior
not,
to
but
their
when,
sin?
He's just saying that the clause of, or he's just saying that like there's this principle that there was no death before the fall, and he's saying that there's a clause there, and it only applies to humans.
Yeah, but humans didn't exist. They were the only humans that existed before they
Okay.
did that, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
so
I don't know how to explain it.
so other things other than humans like could have died before humans.
Yes.
Yeah, so the only thing that would be necessary for us to hold to is just that humans didn't die before the fall, but other things dying before the fall would be no problem.
Okay. Understand. All right, but why? Why is that?
I don't know why he just left. Like why is what?
Why are humans the only ones exempt from death?
They're like made in the image of God, and they're directly participating in like the tree of life.
So screw animals, they can suffer. Why would God create animals just to feel pain and die?
Just to feel pain. No, so I
No,
mean
that's not all that they do, but if animals don't have souls, I mean they don't go to heaven, then they kind of just live, right? And they obviously suffer, and it's all in vain because they don't go to heaven after.
well, why
So,
would it
and
be
they
in
do
vain? Right? Like their existence still serves a purpose. Like even if you look at ecosystems that lack humans, right? Like there's predator and prey relations, and those help the overall ecosystem thrive.
Yes, but God could have made it not like that.
Yeah, because God is all powerful. But what's the issue with God making it like that?
I'm just saying,
Like
it just
like
seems a bit
we don't think
unexpected.
it's evil when a lion feeds on a gazelle because that's just the nature of a lion and the nature of a gazelle. So why are
Yeah, but God could have made it not so.
yeah, but why
He could have
is
made
a lion feeding on a gazelle evil?
no.
So
It's
then what's
not.
the
It's not
problem with God making like allowing that to happen? Like
because okay. Well, I mean, if you when you say is it evil, I mean, I was thinking like, is the lion doing something evil? I don't think so because he's just fulfilling his biological, needs or whatever.
yeah, like nothing
But,
morally
but
evil is occurring when the lion does that. So like God could have
really?
made it to where a lion doesn't eat a gazelle, but what's the issue with him making it to where he does eat a gazelle? Like he could have done either or.
Because the gazelle feels pain, obviously, and the gazelle would rather not be eaten alive, maybe. Do you not believe?
Because the
Yeah, like
gazelle would
if
rather. I mean,
yeah, I mean, if you gave a gazelle a microphone and taught it how to speak English, would do you think it would say,
if plants
"Hey"?
would rather not not be dead either if you gave them a mic and been able to speak English. Put it like
Exactly. So I'm just saying, it just seems like their death, the gazelle's death in this case, is unnecessary because God
well,
created a world in which it had to be like that when, if he's all powerful, he couldn't have.
yeah, we
Now,
agree
I'm
it's
not saying I even
unnecessary.
disagree with this, but wait, what?
Yeah, I mean it's unnecessary, but we don't see like any sort of real problem with it.
I mean, just look, think about it. You're a gazelle, okay? Just try to imagine that. So, you're a gazelle, right? You didn't ask to be born. You're just a gazelle. That's all you are. And you don't have a soul, but you do feel things on a physical level at least. So you feel pain. Because basically the point is that when I say, oh, why do bad things happen, to humans and everything and wars and diseases and whatever, stuff like that. You're like, oh, well, that's because of the fall, right? Is that the reason that you give? The reason why pain and suffering and evil exists or whatever. Well, we won't talk about evil. We'll just talk about pain and suffering. Is the
Well, it
is the
depends what
reason
kind of
for that,
suffering you speak of, because there's going to be different kinds of
well,
suffering.
like physical pain?
Yeah, there's going to be
Like,
different kinds of physical pain that's inflicted. Because we can say one specific kind of suffering exists for the reordering of justice, right? Like for example, someone commits a crime, and we inflict suffering upon them by imprisoning them in order to reestablish justice, to maintain justice. And this inflicts suffering upon the individual, but it's for the sake of justice. And that's perfectly fine. So that's one kind of suffering and why it exists. There's natural suffering, right? Like the corruption of nature. So when fire burns, oxygen is consumed, right? Or when a lion feeds a gazelle is dead. This is called
yeah,
like natural corruption.
yeah. But with that one and with the first one, that is already after the fall has happened. I'm just talking about why suffering exists, why that happened, and I'm asking, is it because of the fall? Because
For
that's what
who?
I've heard a
Like
lot.
when you're asking why suffering exists for humans,
For humans.
that would be because of the fall.
Okay, right. So the point is, if the reason for suffering, and we'll just use physical suffering, like
For
you
humans,
stub your toe.
like specifically for
Yes,
humans.
for humans.
Okay.
Like, and we'll just use the example of physical suffering, like stubbing your toe, like, ow, that hurts, that's suffering. That's not what would happen in heaven, for example. So the reason for that is the fall. But
Well,
animals,
actually, if you're gonna stub your toe, if we're talking about like why did that happen, you could probably blame that on like your lack of awareness. You didn't see there
yeah,
was a
but me
coffee
feeling
table
the
there.
pain from that is what I'm talking about.
You feeling the pain from that. Well, I don't know if I would say while Adam and Eve were in the garden, if they like if they like punched the other one wouldn't have felt pain. Like I still would have like they would have felt pain still.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not like any sort of moral evil. Like if I trip and like twist my ankle, like no sort of moral evil occurred.
But what if a gazelle, for example, sprains its ankle and then it's left, paralyzed basically, and then a lion comes and eats it while it's limping, while it's on the ground. That's the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's a natural evil. It's like I said, natural
Exactly. So now
corruption.
you're using the word evil. So stubbing the toe is the same as that. It's evil. It's
Yeah,
suffering.
it's a natural evil. But natural evils are not they're not moral. They're not moral, right? So, because when we're talking about moral evils, these involve like an act of the free will.
Okay, but the thing is, in heaven, natural evils don't exist. So that would mean that they're bad because heaven is somewhere
Well, I
where
don't know
only
by
good things
what you mean
happen.
by don't exist, right? Because natural evils are not bad in the moral sense. Because, like for example, if let's say God makes heaven, right, and then we start a fire and we roast some marshmallows. Simply by starting a fire, a natural evil is occurring, which is the corruption of the oxygen that's being consumed by the fire.
Uh-huh.
But no one would look at a fire burning oxygen and be like, oh, like this is something evil in the moral sense. We're only
Yeah,
using it
yeah,
in
but
the like
but
with
I'm just
respect to
saying,
nature.
So here,
in heaven,
what's your actual like your gripe? What's your question like for real? The thing that's stopping you from being Christian?
I'm just saying, like, why do bad things happen? Okay, bad things happen to humans because of the fall, but bad things happen to animals for no reason.
Well, it's not for no reason. Again, when you say what's the reason for X happening, you can be talking about like what's the intended goal for this thing being allowed to happen. You could be talking about what's the cause for this thing that happened. So we have to be specific because I can say the gazelle, the reason why the gazelle is being eaten is because of the fact that the gazelle wasn't fast enough to outrun the lion. Or I can say that the reason why the gazelle is being eaten is because that it's the prey towards, the lion. That's its natural prey. That's like,
Yeah, and what's the reason for that?
what's the reason for the prey thing?
Yeah.
Well, it serves it, like I said, these kind of predator and prey relationships serves for the betterment of the entire ecosystem.
Yes, but don't you think that it would be better for the ecosystem to work in a way that isn't you know, contingent, I guess would be the word, on suffering?
Better in
Would
what
that not be
sense?
more
Like
better?
again, if we're talking about better in like a moral sense, there is nothing morally virtuous about a lion not eating a gazelle, um,
But why? Why? If
because there's no
I mean,
act of the free will involved.
oh, but with humans it's different. It's just a completely different thing.
Well, because we believe humans were created with free will, and so their actions actually merit, rewards, and they're virtuous.
But animals do feel pain. You do think that, right?
Yes,
A lot of pain.
yes.
And you don't think that that's morally questionable?
The only way it would be morally questionable if it was something with free will inflicting that pain, like when humans commit animal abuse, right? However, like like when I smack a mosquito because it's, sucking on my leg, there's nothing morally questionable about that.
I don't know why you said it like that, but
But, I mean, but I'm not really talking about morally. I'm just talking about like, you know, why does that need to happen? Because obviously they don't like that.
Well, it doesn't need to happen, like in the sense of like a necessity, but
It
there is a
does. It
purpose
does.
for it, which is the betterment of the ecosystem. Like it serves to, it functions within the ecosystem. Like that's what it serves.
No, because the way that the natural world works is based on that. There has to be prey and predator and all of these things. So it is necessary.
Well, when I say necessary, I mean like in the most general sense possible. Like it could have been another way in some other world, some other universe. Or something.
It could have or it couldn't have.
Could have.
Oh, okay. So then it wouldn't be necessary?
Not in the strict sense, no.
Oh. So conclusion then, it's not morally bad, but it just has to be like that.
So here's what we teach, right? That God, He can cause evils, but only these natural kinds of evils. Like, for example, if He causes a fire, that's going to result in the oxygen being burned up. Okay, and there's no issue with God doing that.
Okay.
Likewise, if God causes like a lion to eat a gazelle, this isn't a moral evil, so there wouldn't be an issue with God allowing it or causing it to happen. The only evils we say God cannot, do is those moral evils. Like if God were to freely choose to commit an injustice, we say that's something that's contrary to the goodness of God.
But I don't understand and I'm really not just trying to disagree with everything you say here. What I don't understand is why just because something doesn't have free will, that means that its its life doesn't matter. We can just
Well,
disregard everything that happens to it and everything it feels.
well, we're not saying its life doesn't matter. Obviously, the lives of animals matter, but for what reason? Well, for example, if there were no cows or no gazelles in existence, that would mean a lot in terms of our food supply and also just many of the ecosystems around the world. That would affect
Yeah, but
many.
it would just adapt differently, but it would still work. It's not like we would be living less efficiently. Everything on Earth would just adapt to that different circumstance.
Yeah,
right?
but the whole point is that it still serves a purpose. So just saying that because it's not a moral evil, its life doesn't matter, doesn't follow. Because at the end of the day, it still serves a purpose.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's what happens to it, what it feels. You're saying that's not a moral question.
It's not.
Just because it doesn't have free will.
Yes,
But
it's not a
humans are
moral
animals as
question.
well. Humans and animals are similar in the sense that they feel kind of a level 1 pain, which we can say is physical. So you're saying, but it's weird because you're saying if a human like wait. So do you think that it's a morally evil thing for a human to be uh killed by an animal?
No, it's not. It's not on. Like, there's no moral evil committed by the animal because again, the animal is just acting on its instincts. It's not acting out of free, like a free choice. So, for example, if a baby were to cry all night and keep its parents up, and now the parents are sleep deprived, the parents were harmed by the baby's crying all night, but it's not the baby's fault because they didn't choose to cry, right? He doesn't have that level of intellect yet where he can choose such things. So he's just acting on his instincts at that point.
So you think pain and suffering don't equate evil or
To
wrongdoing?
to moral evils. It doesn't. All pain and suffering does not immediately equate to moral evil. Moral evil is
Okay.
going to be an act of the free will. So if I freely
Okay.
will to do something like morally evil, then yes, that would be wrong. But things like natural evils or things that are not an act of the free will, but an act of instinct or whatever the case may be, is
Does
not going to
natural
be
evil
moral evil.
exist in heaven?
Does natural evil exist in heaven? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Does fire exist there? Like,
Well,
things are
yeah,
gonna, the way in which we do.
does whatever evil that isn't moral or whatever based on
I mean, there's
by
there's
free will.
moral evil that took place in heaven, like when Satan decided to go against God. Right? That's a moral evil that still took place in heaven.
Oh, okay. But I thought heaven was void of evil.
So this is why in the book of Revelation it says that a new heaven and new earth is going to be created. Right, so the heaven, like as a present, essentially is going to pass away, and new heaven and new earth is going to be issued in with people who've aligned their will with God. So like God pretty much created these beings because it's good for him to create us with free will, both angels and humans alike. And then those who align their will with God will be able to participate in God and enjoy his creation, which is going to be the new heaven and new earth.
And what's the difference between the new heaven and new earth?
The new heaven and
Just
new earth is going to be beings who will fully align their will with God. So
okay.
like we're not going to choose sin because we've aligned our will with God.
But we won't have the option to sin. Our free will be taken away.
No, you still have free will is just the ability to choose good. Like you'll still have free will. You just will choose the good. Just like how like I have free will.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm straight, right? I like women, right? I have the free will. Like I have the ability to choose a guy, but that's not something that I will choose. That doesn't mean that my free will to choose a member of the opposite sex is taken away from me. I've just aligned myself in such a way that I only like women. Right? So it's just the ability to choose the good. I've chosen the good. That's really it.
And how is that different from this earth? On this earth, you're gay?
I'm not gay, nah.
On this earth, bro. On this earth.
On this earth,
you're gay?
no. So on this earth,
From your analogy.
yeah, no. What? No. So on this earth, right?
Well,
It's me.
you said on the new earth, you're straight.
That's not what I said, bro.
Well. That's what you
No,
were.
I gave you an
What is it?
analogy of how you,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I gave
Exactly.
you an analogy of how having free will doesn't mean that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, oh, if I don't choose the other option, I don't have free will. That's not what that entails. That's what I'm
Yeah.
showing you.
I
I'm
know. I
saying that I
get that.
have free will right now, but I will not choose the other option. It doesn't mean that I don't have free
Exactly.
will.
And that's how it is in the new Earth. But I'm saying in the old
No,
Earth.
that's how it is now. You just have you're I'm saying that in the
Oh.
new heaven and
Oh.
new
Okay.
earth, you
Well, no.
have people.
Obviously, I get that.
Yes, I'm saying in the new heaven and new earth, you have people the same way that I will only choose woman.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
In the
Yes.
new
I
heaven
know. I
and new
get it.
earth, you have people who will only choose God. That doesn't mean that they don't have free will. It's just that they only choose God now. Out of their own free will, they
Exactly.
only choose God.
Yes. Yes. I do get that. But what I'm saying is, so that's the new Earth. In the old Earth, what would it be like?
So today, you still have the ability to like, oh, I'm gonna follow God, right? But your will is not locked. It's not set in stone yet. So you're still making your decisions as to who you're going to choose.
And why? Why does God value that?
Because he gave you your free will so that like you have the actual capacity to love and to be virtuous, to choose to participate in goodness, in a sense. So
But we didn't
he
choose to be born, did we?
yeah, as in,
Well, I'm just saying, if we didn't choose to be born, then what's so bad about us not choosing to be born in the new Earth?
those who participate in the new heaven and new earth are going to be those who have passed from here and have chosen Christ.
Exactly, but what's
So
so bad about just
if you
skipping
want to
that step?
participate, then you haven't actually chosen God.
Yeah, but we haven't actually chosen to choose, to have the choice between choosing, between God and uh, the badness or whatever, right?
What?
Because if we didn't choose to be, or if we didn't choose to be born, then we didn't choose to be able to have the choice of goodness and badness.
Sucks, bro. Now you got a choice.
Well,
You're born now, bro. Now you got to pay taxes. This
yeah,
is what it
exactly.
is.
But I'm just saying, why can't we just skip this step? Because we
You
were
can't.
already wronged. Yeah, but why couldn't God make it like that?
Yeah, because when he creates free beings, he gives them free will to freely choose him. Now
Yeah, but he didn't.
the
But he didn't
way
give us free will to make the choice to choose.
how he if you don't exist, how he gonna do that?
Yeah, exactly. But us existing means that we're forced to make a choice.
Okay.
Isn't that kind of like bad then? Because shouldn't we be able to, choose to be able to choose?
No, that's dumb. That's one of the dumbest things I heard today. I'm not gonna
Well, I
hold
mean,
you.
yeah, I guess you're saying it's impossible, but like why can't I mean, why can't we just be like something
Why can't we
beyond
exist
our
before we
body?
exist? Why can't we be rational before we're
Yeah,
rational?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but why is it so bad? Like your physical body, why can't before that you have like a spirit, but it's just kind of dormant and it only gets awoken for like once 1 second, and in that 1 second you're asked the question, hey, do you want to remain dormant forever as a spirit, or do you want to live a painful life, but you have the possibility to come out of that life and go to heaven forever.
Yeah. That's crazy, bro.
Why is that crazy?
I mean, hey, bro, that's a fantastic question, bro. It's not a good question, bro. Like,
Why not?
please lock in, bro.
Wait, why is that a bad question?
Bro, you're just saying like you're because you're just gonna continue down the line. Like all your actual problem is that you just don't like your current state, or you don't like the way in which God does things. So the more answers that we give, you come up with other hypothetical situations, and just say why this, why this, why that. You could do that for infinity with somebody else. I'm not going to be here to listen to the ridiculous questions or hypotheticals you come up with. I'm more concerned with somebody who's actually engaging with reality and trying to figure out stuff of how to navigate this reality. Now you can go on and you can have whatever conversation you want with somebody else. I'm not interested.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you upset.
No, I'm not upset. I've been here for 3 hours, and you over here talking about why can't we be like dormant and then awake for a second and then go back to sleep? Like, bro, what are you talking about? So
But why is that bad?
Okay, bro. I'm not here. I'm trying to be patient. I'm not saying that it's bad per se thing. I'm saying, one, it's not reality. Two, you don't even know what you're choosing. You haven't aligned your will with God at all. You're just saying yes or no to a situation where you have absolutely no idea what this is, which is why when Adam and Eve are created with a rational soul, right, they are created in order to liken themselves unto God. They have this relationship with God. You contemplate God. You're actually with God. You're studying God. So then you're likening your actions to God. So it's not just no, it's not that, which is why it's a dumb question. So he gives you the ability to liken yourself unto him. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, if you don't want to do that, that's up to you. To each his own.
Yeah. Okay. But I really don't know why it's a dumb question, because you're saying God values our choice.
Yeah,
Is that what
so
you're saying?
your choice, right, is making sure it's not just a decision of like, oh, do you want McDonald's, Elijah? Yeah. No, it's actual likening yourself unto said goodness. So the way in which you're being actually good and virtuous is through your actions. Right. So then he gives you the ability to make good actions and good decisions to align yourself with him. So you trying to reduce and negate the good actions and good decisions to just a simple yes or no doesn't make any sense. You don't, like, if I wake you up for a second and just ask you a question, right, even out your sleep, you're not going to know what you're saying yes or no to. Like, it's going to take you, if I wake you up out of your sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're in deep REM, and I'm like, hey, where's the keys? You know, what? It take a little second to contemplate.
What if you were given more than a second?
Yeah. What if you're given like 65 years or 70, right? And you have the actual time to contemplate the Lord, to figure out that which is good and to choose to follow that. What if that was the case? That would be cool, huh?
I don't understand who would choose not to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why he blesses us with the goodness of existence and being born and the time to contemplate him in order to liken ourselves unto him. Because who wouldn't choose that?
Yeah, exactly. So why would anyone not choose that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why you're blessed with existence right now.
But existence is like kind of bad sometimes.
Okay.
Is it not? It's not